it's Michelle, Tangerinebliss. I want to talk about when I miscarried. There's the whole like mental, emotional, spiritual, like how do I deal with this? It is so much, you know, finding out, waiting until you know if you're actually miscarrying or not. That's so hard. It is so hard when you're in that space of, am I or am I not? Is my baby still with me or is my baby not? It is so hard. And then when you know, you're like, okay, so my baby died, and what do I do with this information? And how do I decide how to proceed? I have a video that I made about how I decided how I was going to miscarry and how I found out I was miscarrying. So if you didn't watch those, you can go and watch those after this. But basically, this is a process that you're gonna walk through, and it's not gonna look the same for everybody. But each of us who have grief, we go through it. My midwife, after finding out that I was having my first miscarriage, she told me that, it's not something you can go around, but you have to go through it. And I found that to be really true, and it kind of just stuck with me. So for myself as a Christian, I did a lot of praying, like, God, please let this not be true. And God, help me deal with this. And, realizing also the grief of my family is not going to be the way that I imagined it. Grieving the baby that I've been carrying for however long. You might miscarry at 6 weeks, but you might miscarry at 13 weeks, or you might end up having a stillborn baby, or, it's like there's so many things, and it's not helpful to be like, well, I can't feel this grief because it's not like that. Like, oh man, she really had it bad, but I'm so thankful that, I'm only dealing with XYZ. But it's like, no, you can't compare grief. Grief is grief. And so whether you're miscarrying right now, or if it's something that you've already walked through and you're just like, I need to process this, I really hope that this is helpful to you. So one thing that I found that was really helpful was connecting with other women who were going through infertility issues, miscarriage, child loss. There are groups of people going through grief, and it's just for sharing. It's not like going to a counselor. Nobody's going to be like telling you do this or do that, but where you can kind of sit in a circle and talk about it. And I found a group that was really helpful to me. It was just an opportunity to like process your feelings, to say, this is what I've gone through, this is what I'm going through, and just being there for each other, holding space for each other. If you can find a group like that in your area, I highly recommend it. If you talk to your midwife or your OBGYN, or if you went to a family doctor or whatever, talk to your healthcare provider and ask them, is there a group like that in my area? And go to it, because it's 100% worth it. And not only was it beneficial to me emotionally, but really as a person, I began to realize just like a broader perspective on these things that other women were going through too. And it really grows your empathy and your sympathy, and it's really just a really good thing to do. The second thing that I did was I went to an event that talked about journaling your feelings. And you don't have to go to an event in order to do this. So I'm just going to tell you what it entailed, and I can share some pictures here. So this is a book that it just has regular pages in, and I used some white gesso paint, and you can just paint over the pages, and then you can journal on it, and it's just nice because it's kind of like you can use this book in any way you like. You can use it to journal, or you can use it to draw or to paint. So just as I was processing through some different writing prompts and things to think through, I drew these images and wrote down these things, and it was so therapeutic. If you try this, which I highly recommend that you do, just give yourself some time alone. Give yourself whatever medium you want, whether that's watercolor or your kids' crayons or some gel pens that you had from whatever. Just take the time to think through words, like look up a list of words of how you're feeling, and you can write about it, because sometimes it's like you have so many feelings and so many thoughts going on. It's hard to verbalize it. It's hard to process all the different ways that you're feeling, but it is good to think through it and to just like release it, and writing it down or drawing it symbolically is very helpful. So that was like one of the things that I did, and it was really meaningful, and I've done it a little bit after, and I still plan on adding a little bit more to this journal. It doesn't have to be for grief. It can just be processing your feelings, processing your emotions. It's kind of like regular journaling on steroids. I don't know. It's a lot more fun, I guess, if you're a creative type. So that was really helpful to me. Another way that I worked through this spiritually was through music. You don't have to be a musician. I play guitar and I sing. I also decided to take the time to write how I was feeling in a song, because I was just like, man, I'm heartbroken. I just have all these feelings, and that is really like, it's hard to say it. It's hard to process it. And if you like to write poetry, or if you like to write music, or if you have some kind of, whatever, something that you do that's like an outlet for you emotionally, then please, like, think about what you can do and just get into that space. Like, if it's a happy place, or if it's, it's just something a way that you connect with God, maybe even if it's like out in nature or whatever, and you're just processing, because we need to process. But even just listening to music, listening to songs that are meaningful and connect with the fact that you've been miscarrying or you've miscarried. I'll put a couple links to some songs that I found really meaningful. When I was miscarrying my first baby, I really felt like it was my fault in a lot of ways. It happened that I had flu-like symptoms a little bit before I miscarried, and because of those those body aches, everything, even though I was pregnant, I took a really warm bath, and it wasn't like a scalding hot bath. It was not even like a hot tub, but I took this like very warm bath, and later on when I miscarried, like, I kept going back into my mind, like, maybe it was something I did, maybe it was that bath that I took. it was too hot. I must have accidentally killed my baby. Like, this is my fault. Or maybe it was that when I had the flu, like my body was actually like fighting my baby off, and I don't know. I was just like thinking through these things, and honestly, those thoughts aren't helpful, and it's not even true. There's no way of knowing exactly why you miscarry. Maybe in the future they'll have better technology and they'll be able to be more insightful as doctors telling us what happened, but I don't know. You're just kind of like, okay, well, this happened. And so from like a mental place, I really had to keep reassuring myself. I mean, the doctors told me, they're like, it's nothing that you did. This just, this happens sometimes. And I tried to just like wash those thoughts over me and tell myself true things. Like, it's nothing that you could have done, Michelle. And this is, this happens to a lot of people. And I don't know, just like reassuring myself. And then from a spiritual aspect, when I found out that I was miscarrying my first baby, I just went like overboard, like on logical, mental reassuring myself. I was like, I don't know, maybe I was like avoiding the emotional side at first. And I just kept telling myself all these reassuring things, like, I'm so thankful that, like, and this is true though, but I was just like overthinking constantly. Like, I'm so thankful that my baby, even though I'm miscarrying, that my baby has only ever known like warmth and love, and this baby that I'm miscarrying will never know hurt or any of the awful things that we deal with in the world. And it kind of helped to just be like super logical and thinking about those things, but also it was kind of like a way of putting off the actual emotions. And you just need to give yourself permission to grieve. And sometimes it sneaks up on you. You're somewhere and then all of a sudden you're just like crying. You're like dealing with it right then and there. But especially for me, as it got a little bit farther and farther away from the actual event of when I miscarried, I just found that sometimes I needed to just give myself time to grieve. Just give myself space and time. Just like, okay, my husband could like watch the kids, like lock myself in my room, because that's what you have to do to have kids. They can interrupt you, and just take time to cry. And you don't even have to be doing something like the journaling I talked about, or like the songwriting. Those all have a good place, but also you need to just take time to grieve and give yourself permission to grieve. And so even still, sometimes I have to do that. I'm going to make a video later about dealing with your miscarriage and having another baby, and just like the feelings that came along with that. But for fear of having insanely long videos, I'm saving that for next time, and I hope that you tune in. And you might not be a person that believes in God. I am. If you want to click over the next video right now, then please feel free. But I want to just take a minute to just pray for you if this is something that you're going through right now. God, I just thank you so much for the fact that I can share my experiences and hopefully encourage others in this video. And for the person who's watching right now, I completely believe that as God, you're outside of time, and I can be recording this video and praying, and you can be touching someone's heart and washing your love over them, God. I pray that you would just give this person your peace and your love, and wrap them up in comfort of of you, God, and in the comfort and love of family and friends. I pray that you would help this process to be one that's not lonely, but that is filled with finding others who can hold space for each other, and filled with moments of processing through the emotions, and filled with opportunities to just let ourselves grieve, because it's just part of what we have to do. I pray that you would really just carry this individual through the situation, and that this would be a time marked by feeling love in all kinds of unexpected ways, unexpected times. And thank you for how you're going to answer these prayers, because I know that you can. In Jesus' name, amen. So thanks for letting me pray for you, if you stuck around for that. And please, like I said, feel free to connect with me. You don't have to comment here. You can. I would love it if you like the video, if it's meaningful for you. But I'm on Instagram. You can send me a direct message there, and we can have a conversation if that's what you want to do. So take care, and see you next time.